If you have a child that is no longer napping or is fighting their nap, and by mid-afternoon they are tired, cranky, and you are just desperate for a break, this video is for you. Introducing quiet time. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Beth and I make all kinds of motherhood and lifestyle videos on my channel. And today we are tackling the topic of quiet time. I get questions from you guys often about what it looks like to introduce quiet time and how to build up a tolerance for quiet time and independent play, because there are just a lot of tired parents out there and tired kids out there that would really benefit from having some sort of structured quiet time in their day as well. My goal for this video is for it to kind of feel like a quiet time 101. So I'm going to share what our quiet time currently looks like, and then 8 different, I would say, essential elements of our quiet time formula that you can apply in your own home, as well as some different cues or things to look for about when it might actually be time to start introducing quiet time with your child. I'm also super excited to be working with one of my favorite sponsors on this video, Kiwo. So to hear about a special offer that they have for viewers of my channel, just keep on watching. At some point between 13 to 18 months, most toddlers will consolidate down to one daily nap. And that one daily nap usually lasts anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours. It is a super nice chunk of time, so much easier to plan your day around. So it's no surprise that when all of a sudden that one nap gets dropped, or you start to see some resistance to taking that nap, that it can be a terrifying transition. That is why quiet time is so important and can be such a helpful anchor in your day. Taking care of young children all day is hard work. Even for the person that absolutely loves it, like myself, it's still draining. And I think that it's important to remove any guilt away from wanting to introduce a quiet time and recognizing that this is a really awesome way for you to introduce to your toddler what it looks like to take opportunities to be by themselves for a little bit, to rest, to recuperate, by you actually modeling what that looks like to them as well. For context, I kind of stumbled into a quiet time routine when my firstborn was 18 months old and decided to drop her one nap of the day. This was just 3 months after our second baby was born. So I recognized that there was a significant life change that had happened, and I kind of attributed the dropping of naps more to that than to an actual lack for sleep and for rest during that time. And that's where quiet time began. At this point in time, my 18-month-old was still in a crib, and although she wasn't happy to sleep in her room during her nap time anymore, I noticed that if I would give her a couple of things in her crib to actually do or to entertain her, that it would oftentimes turn into a nap afterwards, or she would just kind of entertain herself with whatever material I had put into her crib for the duration of that nap time. With a couple of small books and small toys, I noticed that some days she would play for 10 minutes independently, and then after that it would kind of grow to 20 minutes and then 30 minutes, and then eventually by the time that I think she honestly started falling asleep again, sometimes she would be playing in there for like a full hour. And what ended up happening is that shortly after introducing quiet time to her in her crib, she actually started napping again. So believe it or not, my toddler that dropped her nap at 18 months went 6 months without a nap during the day, and then at 2.5 years old, because of the consistency of our quiet time routine, she started napping again. Now that that same toddler is over the age of 3, she doesn't always end up falling asleep or needing to sleep during her quiet times every day, but it is a regular part of our routine and has been for so long that I honestly couldn't imagine doing it any other way. Quiet time in our house is something that happens every single day of the week. It happens on weekdays, it happens on weekends, and it's less about the time of day that it happens and more about where we are at in our schedule. So although quiet time typically happens in our house around, I would say like 1 to 2 p.m., sometimes 1:30 to 2:30, sometimes 1 to 3 p.m. It's actually more about the fact that it happens very shortly after lunchtime. So every single day our toddlers will eat lunch, and when they are done, they'll get cleaned up, they'll play for about 5 to 10 minutes, use the bathroom, and then we will transition into quiet time. There are a few reasons why I chose right after lunch to be kind of the period of time that we do quiet time. The biggest one being that this is typically the same time that they would be going down for a nap anyway if they were still taking that one consolidated nap every day. So you remove the nap and then just replace it directly with quiet time. The second reason that I chose immediately after lunch is because I was consistently noticing that as soon as I would start cleaning up lunch and my children would leave the table and be fed, that they would go into their deepest independent play of the day. I don't know what it is about having a full belly early, but I always just find that my kids are so much more apt to just get up and go and play independently immediately after breakfast, immediately after lunch, and immediately after dinner. So that is why I have kind of baked this time and opportunity for independent play to fall right after lunchtime. During quiet time in our house, the entire house goes silent. Our middle child still does nap during this time, so he'll go down into his room and take his nap. I will remain quiet during this time, so it means no running the vacuum or playing the TV loud or podcasts loud. I will do my best to remain completely quiet during this time and actually also either take an opportunity for rest myself or catch up on some quiet work. I'll do my best to try and also line up some of my baby's nap during this time, but essentially our entire house is just very quiet from the hours of like 1 to 3 p.m. There have been times that I've put signs on the door for delivery people so that they know to not ring the doorbell or to knock, and it's so funny. I feel like if any of my friends come over and they know they're going to be arriving during these hours of quiet time at our house, they'll text me first, they'll come in and they'll be whispering. So it literally is just like a thing in the culture of our house now, is that from the hours of like 1 to 3 p.m. the whole house is quiet. So if you're feeling ready to introduce a quiet time to your house, what are the different ways to do that? Well, the first thing that I would suggest that you do is take an opportunity to fill the cup of the children that you are going to be launching into quiet time before you actually launch them into it. What I mean by filling their cup is giving that child a little bit of one-on-one time with you to the best of your ability before they actually transition into some time being alone. If you think about it and look back at your child's routine over the years, typically before they would go down for a nap, they would have some really nice one-on-one time with you or with another caregiver. Someone that would be changing their diaper, maybe putting them into PJs, reading them a story, singing them a song before actually laying them down to sleep. All of these different things are amazing ways for your toddler to actually calm their nervous system and get into a place for rest and relaxation and ultimately sleep. When all of a sudden that is out of the routine and you want them to have some quiet time, but you're just sticking them in a room or sticking them into a place and saying, all right, now don't come and bother me for the next 1 to 2 hours. I think our toddlers can think, wait a minute, where did that connection with my parent go? I was really looking forward to that one-on-one time with you. So what I always try and do before a quiet time is come into the space that quiet time is going to be happening, snuggle up. I will maybe read a couple of books. We'll often reflect back on the morning and talk about maybe what happened, what our favorite parts are, or some of the different things that we can remember. That whole process only takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And when it is done, I will reinforce the fact that it is quiet time, recommunicate the boundary of what quiet time looks like and what the expectations are, the agreed upon time frame that we have, and then we will part ways. That leads me into my next essential of quiet time, and that is presenting options. So essentially I go through the same list every single day, and it's that during quiet time you can read, you can play, or you can sleep. So starting with read, you may be wondering, can your child read? She just turned 3, so while she's showing a ton of interest in reading on her own, it's not something that she can do yet independently. We do have a good sized toddler bookshelf in her room that has a ton of different books on it that she is super interested at just looking through the pictures and pretending to read and coming up with different stories as she's looking through them. I have also introduced audiobooks recently, and this is something that I highly suggest, especially if your toddler is not really the type to just kind of sit and flip through books and they're a little bit busier or kind of wanting to be playing or doing something with their hands a lot of the time. The next option is play. So we do have some toys in each of our kids' rooms, although we do try and keep it very minimal, and those toys are really only something that they play with during quiet time. So they're not toys that are out in the playroom and on like a consistent rotation in our house, and I honestly think that that does make it a lot more fun to actually come into and look forward to playing with every single day. When I come back in after quiet time, it is crazy in here because so many of those toys have come out and are strewn across the room, but that's okay. This is an opportunity for her to just have some really unstructured play and not have someone kind of monitoring or looking over her neck or cleaning up after her while she is playing. I always try to look for toys that are open-ended and purposeful, and that is why I am so excited to be working with Kiwo on this video. Kiwo makes learning engaging and fun for kids of all ages, but the Kiwo Panda Crate specifically is designed for babies and toddlers ages 0 to 36 months, and it is a subscription that arrives to your house every other month, and it is full of researched back toys that engage all 5 senses and really set an incredible foundation for lifelong learning. We have the Panda Crate Plus, So on a bi-monthly basis, we receive a crate that has a resource guide for us as parents. It's called the Wonder Play Guide, and it has a bunch of super helpful information about your baby or toddler's brain development, their current milestones. It also comes with 3 to 6 stage-specific toys that are really meant for your child to play with at the age and stage that they are currently at. And in addition to that, when you have Panda Crate Plus, you also get one Grow With Me toy that comes with that 2-month crate. So the Grow With Me toys are amazing because your baby or your toddler will love them for the age they are currently at, but it is designed to grow with them over time, and they can find new ways to use it and play with it in their everyday play. So we have absolutely loved our experience with these crates over the years. Our 1-year-old currently has the Let's Pretend crate for 19 to 24 months, and it is so much fun for when your toddler is kind of in the thick of that pretend play stage of development. It comes with these super cute wood veggies as well as a planter box that they can pretend to actually like be gardening in and then picking things out of to cook in their kitchen, cooking set that you can use to pretend to cook a meal together or play restaurant. So it's honestly such a fun crate to promote independent play, social skills, language development. And then for our youngest, we just got the Let's Sense crate, which is for babies ages 3 to 4 months. And I'm so excited about this crate because there is so much that changes in a baby's mind and in a baby's world during that like 3 to 4 month age range. This crate comes with a really unique spiral toy holder as well as a hanging toy set so that your baby can actually start to practice those initial movements of reaching and grasping. It also comes with a wood rattle set as well as a crinkle book, which is amazing for hearing and those initial stages of cause and effect, as well as a super cute high contrast wooden book that helps to further promote their vision. As I mentioned, we have been a Kiwo family for years now, and for me as a parent, there is just nothing better than the guesswork completely being taken out of what toys my kids are playing with every single day. I love that these toys are high quality, they're durable, and that these crates are designed in partnership with the Seattle Children's Hospital to be best suited for my kids' needs at their different stages of development. And Kiwo's Wonder Play Guides have also just been such an invaluable resource for us as parents, especially for myself as a stay-at-home mom that's always looking for different activities and ways to actually engage my children's brains through play every day. So if you also have a baby or a toddler between the ages of 0 to 36 months and you think that they could benefit from the Kiwo Panda Crate as well, Kiwo has a special offer for viewers of my channel. All you have to do is head to kiwico.com/BethBaby, which is right here on the screen or down in the description box, and use the code BETH at checkout to save 20% off of your first Panda Crate. Again, that is kiwico.com/BethBaby, and use that code BETH at checkout to save. So thank you so much to Kiwo for working with me on today's video. So once you have figured out what all of your different quiet time options are going to be for your child, my next suggestion is to start small. And this can be as small as it needs to be. Even if you start with 5 minutes and you find that it's not working and they're coming and looking for you right away, start smaller. Choose the duration of time that you want quiet time to last for in your house every single day and make it realistic. Don't make it like 3 or 4 hours every day. And then slowly, day by day, work up a tolerance to that amount of quiet time with your toddler while being in communication with them about what that is going to look like. My next essential may be the most important essential of quiet time in this entire video, and it is to stay consistent. Regardless of what our morning has looked like, whether it's a standard morning at home with a standard quiet time, or we've been at church all morning and we've got meetings in the afternoon, so we're not getting back until 2 p.m. We always will then launch into a quiet time as soon as we get home, even if it's going to be condensed. I would say that the only time that this does not happen is if we have intentionally decided to be out somewhere for the entirety of the day, which is not something that we usually do with kids our age. But if we know that we are going to be gone or we have somewhere to be, we'll try and line our driving time up with quiet time so that our kids still have an opportunity to unwind during that same time in the car as opposed to their room. And I think that way, when you're able to stay very consistent with it, if there is a day that quiet time doesn't go very well, or even a week where quiet time doesn't go very well, as long as you stay committed to still sticking to that same quiet time every single day during the same time, I think that you'll find over time that because of your commitment to being consistent with it, that it will eventually work for you or work for you again. My next essential in the quiet time formula is to set the space. I always try and make the room feel very calming, a very relaxing place to be in. So what this often looks like is drawing the curtains, having a very dim room. Most of the time I actually will still put on her sound machine that she uses for sleeping at at night, because I find that that does kind of just help to create a sleepier environment. I'll usually set the Yoto player out and make sure that it is charged before I leave. And the other thing is that although quiet time can result in a messy room because of all the independent play, I do try and help to make the room kind of calming and organized and tidy before I leave. So even though I know it's going to get messed up again, I often do put the toys away, put the books back on the bookshelf before she comes in, so that it's just more of a relaxing environment as opposed to walking in on chaos and then being told to try to relax in that. Next quiet time essential is to remain present. So although we do have a very firm boundary that quiet time is your quiet time, it's quiet time for mommy, it's quiet time for everyone else in the house, I'm still present and available during that time if she does need me for anything. Oftentimes this does look like bathroom breaks that afterwards always very promptly go right back into quiet time. Sometimes it's just for help opening or fixing a toy. A lot of the time it's for help putting on a princess dress. All of this to say, what I never do is lock my child into a room and then completely ignore all requests for the next hour because it is quiet time. I feel like that's just not very age appropriate or fair to a toddler. So as much as I would love for it to be complete silence for that full hour, I do oftentimes field questions or requests, but afterwards it's always met with a very firm, it's time to go back to quiet time. You can read, you can play, or you can sleep. The next thing that can be incredibly helpful, especially when you are building up a tolerance for quiet time, is incorporating visual cues. Visual cues can be so helpful for toddlers because they really have no idea what time it is. They don't know how long it's been since they've been in their room. It can feel like it's been an eternity for them. Just imagine asking someone, how long is it until dinner? And them responding with a completely foreign language that you didn't understand at all. You would be like, okay, that's not helpful for me. So I feel like that's how our toddlers feel sometimes when we're like 20 more minutes. They just don't know what that even means. And so visual cues can be really helpful for them. For us, we do have the Hatch sound machine in my daughter's bedroom. So essentially, if I do feel like she ever needs a visual cue, and this is something that we did a lot more in the beginning stages of quiet time, but I would turn it on to red, and then basically when the sound machine would turn green, that was when she would know that it would be time to come out and that quiet time was over. I've also seen people do this with hourglass timers. And the last essential of the quiet time formula is to have a plan B. So if quiet time doesn't work today, what are we going to do instead? The reality is that you could do everything right. You can fill their cup up beforehand, you can present the options, you can make sure that the space is set up for a nice relaxing stretch of independent play, and your child can just decide that they don't feel like being alone today for whatever reason, or they don't feel like being alone for whatever reason for a week straight. And the thing with all of these systems and formulas is that we have to remember that they are just systems and formulas, and that our kids are not robots. They are human beings, and there's going to be times that they're just not down to do quiet time, and all that we can control is our reaction and our expectations of what that time actually looks like. So it's easier said than done because it can feel so frustrating when you used to have a nap and sometimes you're not getting the quiet time, and it ends up just making the day feel quite long. But in those moments, you just have to choose, okay, we're gonna do this different activity together instead. We're gonna maybe do an earlier bedtime tonight to kind of compensate for the rest time that didn't happen this afternoon, and just kind of pivot, because there is nothing worse than carrying that tension around of like, oh, the quiet time didn't go well today, or the nap didn't go well today and I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. When in reality, it's not really our kids' fault that it didn't work out that day, and it's just not fair for us to take that out on them. So having a plan B is always important. We'll do a quiet activity together, like bracelet making, art, something like that. But that comes long after making sure that I have first reinforced the boundary of quiet time and making sure that she understands that that is the priority for that time of our day. So how do you know it is time to switch to quiet time as opposed to having a nap? This is very gray area because everyone's child drops the nap at a different rate. Some of my friends' kids dropped their nap around age 2. A lot of them, it happened at some point shortly after turning 3. For some people, their kids still nap until they're like 4 years old, and those people are living my dream. But for the majority of people, it will happen at some point between the ages of 2 to 4. And I think that the most common thing that people notice is that they will attempt naps and their child will just skip it and actually refuse to take the nap, or it will take them a very long time to actually fall asleep. Scenario 2 is your child is actually still napping during the day and falling asleep, but bedtime is getting pushed later and later, and it's becoming a very big struggle for you guys. wise, or you may notice that nighttime sleep is actually becoming an issue. So if they're napping during the day and they're still going to bed at a reasonable hour at night, but they're waking up throughout the night, there's probably just too much daytime sleep that's happening there, and it needs to either be compensated with a quiet time during the day as opposed to the nap, a capped nap, or a later bedtime. So all of those things are different things that you can look for, but again, the last nap ends up being dropped for most kids somewhere between ages 2 to 4, 2 being on the very early end to drop a nap and 4 being kind of on the later side. So I feel like age 3 is kind of a sweet spot for when quiet time can be introduced. I know that the thought of dropping that last nap feels terrifying, but I promise you there is still hope. You can still have those peaceful, restful, relaxing afternoons. It just takes a little bit of practice and time and intentionality to get a quiet time routine that works for you and your toddler. Well, those are all of the essentials in our quiet time formula. I hope that that could be helpful for you guys. And if there is anyone that is watching this that already has a quiet time that is going, or you've done this with your kids in the past, feel free to fill in the gaps of what I've talked about today by sharing any other tips and tricks that have worked for you along the way. I know that some people are actually able to do quiet time with multiple kids in one room, and people that have actually been able to continue quiet time with their older kids into ages like 5 to 10 and beyond. So definitely head to the comment section of this video for more tips and tricks. But I also wanted to remind you guys that if any of you are interested in checking out the Kiwo Panda Crate for your baby or toddler from the ages of 0 to 36 months, all you have to do is go to kiwico.com/BethBaby and use that code Beth at checkout to save 20%. So thank you again to Kiwo. Thank you guys for being here and for watching this video. If it was helpful for you, I would love for you to share it with a friend, or to like or comment or subscribe. This is one of those videos that I really wanted to make because I know it could be super helpful for some people, but it's not one of the more popular topics for a video on YouTube. So whatever you guys can do for engagement is super helpful for my channel. But until my next video, I love you guys, I'm praying for you guys, and I will see you soon.